Year four, hope you're all okay and are having a great week so far. It certainly looks like it. I've got your scarf lesson for today, and I'm going to be sharing with you. We're going to be looking at still how to keep ourselves safe. So we've looked at how to keep ourselves safe online, the different things that might be dangerous to us when we did dangers, risks, and hazards as well. And we are now going to look at how to keep ourselves safe when people might be daring us to do things. So we're looking at how to be assertive. Big rewind back there because we did look a little bit at how to be assertive before, how to say no. And we're going to look at that to help us respond to dares that people might set us. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, so our scarf today, again, in the keeping myself safe topic, our what is to define what is meant by the word dare. So the main thing is that we know and can explain and define the word dare by deepening our thinking, because we might already know a little bit about the word dare, but we're going to deepen our thinking about how it relates to us and our friendships and situations that we might be in. And we're doing it so that we can then suggest strategies to help us manage when people dare us, how to say no and how to manage when things like that are presented to us. So, like I said, first of all, we are going to be looking at dares. Now, this is the point in the lesson where I would usually get you to talk to your partner or the people around you, or have a little bit of a think in your head about these questions. So I want you to pause the video, have a little think. You might want to make some notes. If not, that's fine. It's just the thinking time part. So I want you to think about, are dares ever a positive thing? And how can we respond if someone dares us to do something? Okay. So pause and have a think for me. Okay, so if somebody's daring you to do something that can end in risk or a hazard or danger, like we looked at before, then it's definitely not a positive thing, is it? But if they dare you to do something that will definitely have a good outcome, maybe you're feeling a bit nervous and they dare you to do something that is going to help. For example, I dare you to, I'm trying to think of something now, I dare you to read that book. And as long as it's a book that's not going to be upsetting or anything, then it's not really going to be a negative thing. So sometimes it can be a positive thing, but often dares are seen to be negative. Often dares are daring someone to do something in it to make something negative the outcome. And so how can we respond? Now, it's easy to say, you just say, no, I don't want to do that, thank you. But in the moment, depending on who's asking you, if your friend is asking you, you might feel like you don't want to let them down. You might feel like you kind of have to. And that's what we're going to look at today, because you never have to do anything, no matter who it is. It could be your bestest friend in the whole wide world. But if they're daring you to do something that you don't think is safe or sensible or kind, then that's okay to say no. So we're going to look at how we can respond to those things, even if it's our bestest friend. So we are going to, your task is going to be across these next 2 slides, you're going to read through these situations, and I would like to think about which of these would you say are dares? And if it's not a dare, then what is it? So I want you to pause the video and write down in your jotters, number 1, so just in your yellow jotters, or on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard, whatever you've got to hand. It's not going in your book, don't worry. If you could write down for me number 1 and then write dare or not dare. And if it's not a dare, can you expand on it a little bit? What do you mean by not a dare? So pause and write down numbers 1 to 5 and whether they are a dare or not. And then I'd like you to do the same with numbers 6, 7 and 8. So pause the video and have a go through those as well for me. Okay then guys, so looking back at these first situations, we're going to have a quick look through them and I'm going to share my thoughts and you can see if our thoughts line up or not. Remember, you probably won't have the exact same answers because we have completely different minds and thought patterns. So as long as you've got something, as long as you don't think something's a dare and it's not a dare, and I think it's not a dare, as long as they're not completely opposite answers, then I will leave it up to you to decide if we've got a similar kind of answer. So for number 1, I've written So it's playtime, children are not supposed to be in the classroom without permission. Your friend asks you to go in to get a ball from their bag, saying that you're a chicken if you don't. Now, calling people a chicken is often a way that people try to get someone to do something, and you need to, if that is happening to you, you need to ignore it. Because ask this question: why is the friend not getting the ball from the bag? Does that mean they're a chicken? Calling people a chicken, first of all, isn't very kind, and it doesn't represent that that person is a chicken or scaredy cat or whatever you want to, whatever word you can describe there. It means that they're following the rules, and following the rules is not what a chicken or a scaredy cat does, it's what a sensible person with integrity does. So I've written 2 things down here. Number 1, if it was okay to do it, why would they not do it themselves? So it's clearly not an okay thing to do because they don't dare to do it themselves. And number 2, we know that it is definitely breaking the rules because it says you're not allowed in without permission. It's a clear rule, and so that person, you would be breaking the rules by going in. So that is a dare. Number 2, your teacher asks you to perform a solo in the school's end of year concert. Now, the key word there is asks. They are not telling you to do it as such. And I know in the last one, your friend asks you to do it, but in this second one, your teacher is asking you to do it. So it's not something that you have to do. It's something you can say yes or no to. It's a choice. It's something where your teacher is trying to push and challenge you for your own good to develop your confidence. Obviously, you can say no to that, but also it's something that I would call it a challenge. It's something to push you and help develop you. So it's not something with a negative outcome. Might be nervous, might be anxious, might be scared before it, but it's not something that really would have a hugely negative outcome. Number 3, you're at a local play area. Your friend says that she bets you can't climb to the top of the climbing frame and stand on the bars without holding on with your hands. Now that, I've written for this one, only do it if you're comfortable. For that one, if you say yes or no, that's okay, but you need to know yourself whether that's a sensible choice. If you say yes because you've done it before and you know you can do it safely, then that's okay. But I mean, to me, it sounds like a very unsafe thing to do anyway. But if you are very brave and do climb a lot, then you could climb. Maybe hold on with your hands. Maybe don't let go of the hands. That makes me feel a bit nervous. Maybe don't do that bit. But if you feel safe climbing and you know that you're a good climber, then go ahead and climb. That's what the climbing frame is for. But if you're not comfortable and you feel like you're not a good climber, then maybe don't climb all the way to the top for the first time. And so for that one, I think it is a bit of a dare, also a bit of a challenge. And as long as you feel comfortable in what you can do, then you're within your rights to say yes or no. Okay, but it does sound a little bit dangerous to do it without hands. So for that one, I've just put only if you're comfortable. So that's where you need to know yourself, what you feel comfortable and what you feel like you can do. And then number 4, you're about to do a spelling test. The boy who sits next to you tells you to put the sheet with your spellings on in your pencil case and leave it open so that you can both see it during the test. So that would be breaking the rules. So I do think that's a dare because it's daring you to do something that you know is wrong. And again, same as number 1, if they want to do it so badly, why can't they do it themselves? Which makes me think because it's breaking the rules, they don't want to get in trouble, so they want someone else to do the hard work for them and get in trouble, and that's not fair. So I would definitely say no. Your class is choosing people for the school council. Your friend asks you to put your hand up and volunteer because she thinks you would be really good at it, but you're not so sure. So this is similar to number 2 with your teacher. Again, you can choose to follow what your friend said. I think your friend's more giving you advice in this situation, a bit of a challenge or advice. They're saying, actually, you might not see this, but you are really good and you would be really good at that. So they're giving you a bit of encouragement and a bit of advice and a challenge. You can say no. It's completely up to you, obviously, in this situation, but they're not forcing you. And I think that something could have a benefit and help you with for your own good. So again, there could be a positive outcome there. So I don't think it's a dare. I think it's more someone trying to make you a braver person and give you a bit. So that's those ones. For the next ones. So number 6 says you are playing frisbee in the park. Your frisbee goes over the fence and into someone's garden. Your friends say that you're the most agile, so the most kind of like a ninja, I guess. So you should climb over the fence and throw the frisbee back to them. Now, again, this is really kind of breaking into someone's own property, which is against the rules, really. There's no set rules as such, but it's going into someone else's property, which is not a good thing. So I would say it's a dare, and also they're not doing it either. So it's something that they're wanting someone else to do in case they get in trouble. So there, I would say that is definitely a dare. Number 7, there is an inter-school nature quiz coming up, and your head teacher is looking for people to enter the quiz. You know quite a lot about nature, but you get a little bit nervous in the quizzes. Your head teacher says you'll be letting the school down if you don't enter the quiz. So at first I thought that's a challenge, that's good, that could develop your confidence, make you do something that's out of your comfort zone, because that's how we grow if we challenge ourselves. So I think in that aspect it's a challenge. But then that last sentence really says to me that it makes me feel a bit sad that the head teacher would say that. And I know that's something that head teachers shouldn't say really, and I hope they don't say that. I know that Miss Ryan definitely wouldn't say that to us. So that makes me think that it's an unkind thing to say, and that actually the head teacher is almost setting up a dare there, or quite a harsh challenge. I would say it's a challenge, but being told that you'll be letting the school down if you don't enter the quiz, I think that's an unkind thing to say, and I would hope that that wouldn't change your mind as such, but I know it would probably have quite an impact. So I would say at first that's a challenge, but then the way that that ending is worded is unkind and does kind of make it a bit of a dare, because you feel the responsibility of letting the school down, which you wouldn't by saying no, because you need to say yes and no to things that you are comfortable with. So, but the pressure or the responsibility of feeling like you'd let the school down, I think makes it into a dare. Like when someone calls you a chicken, you're being called something negative for not doing it, to try and sort of bribe you to do it. So I would say that is a dare. And then number 8, on the way home, your friends are taking it in turns to knock on people's front doors and then run away. And we know that that is an unkind thing to do. And you don't feel comfortable with this, and they ask you to do the next one to prove that you are part of their gang. Again, they are making you do it for a reason. Okay, yes, they're doing it themselves, but it's not a nice thing to do, and they're trying to force you to do it. They're trying to bribe you. They're trying to convince you to do it, to be part of their gang. And definitely that is something we should say no to, because it's not a kind thing to do. You know it's not a kind thing to do. So that is the point where we would be assertive and say no, because they are trying to force you to do something by bribing you or reasoning with you. Okay, so going through those. So after all of that, what do you then think a dare is? Because we've gone through those, we've pulled out a few things that the dares had in common. So pause the video, see if you can use your yellow explain it glasses to tell me what you think a dare is. Okay, so a dare is when someone dares you to do something, they tell you to do something, and they're asking you to do something risky, which you feel uncomfortable with, and it might get you into trouble or cause you some harm. So I would say that the key words in this definition, and I would suggest pausing it when I've highlighted them, so that you can make notes from it. You don't need to copy the whole thing, but make notes. So they are asking you to do something risky, which you feel uncomfortable with, and it might get you into trouble or cause you harm. Okay, so it's when they are asking you, someone dares you to do something, they are asking you to do something risky. And I think it's also important to note that they often, when asking you to do a dare, try and convince you by calling you a chicken, saying you're going to let everyone down, telling you that they've all done it, so you should do it too. They try and use words to convince you to do it, okay? So that's something to be aware of. So pause it and write your own definition of a dare for me. Okay, so responding to dares. If we look at that first one again, going into the classroom to get a ball when you're not allowed, why do you think the friend would be asking you to go into the classroom? Why aren't they going themselves? How would you feel if you didn't go and they started telling people that you were a chicken? What might be the consequence of going to the classroom and getting the ball? So pause the video and just have a think of an answer to those 4 questions for me. Okay, so to question 1 and 2, why have they asked you to go? Why aren't they going themselves? I think they've asked you to go so that you can be responsible when the consequences or the punishment comes. So it's without permission, it's against the rules. They know it's not the right thing to do, but they don't want to get in trouble themselves. So they've asked you to do it so that you can get in trouble, which is very unkind. How would you feel if you didn't and they started telling people you were a chicken? So I would definitely feel very upset and I'd feel a bit anxious that people would then start to think I was a chicken and not want to be my friend. But also, you need to bear in mind that true friends would not believe that. They wouldn't think you were a chicken. They would appreciate and understand that you did the right thing by not breaking the rules. Okay, so if a friend is calling you a chicken to try and make you do something, have a little think about whether that is the kindest thing that they're doing and whether that's something that you like in your friendship. And then what might be the possible consequence of going into the classroom and getting the ball? Getting in trouble with the teacher or an adult in school. So I definitely think that that's something where they're trying to make you get in trouble instead of them. Okay, so how could you respond then? So we know how it's not the right thing to do. We know to ignore if they call you a chicken, but actually doing it is quite a difficult thing because you can think, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then in the situation, you think, oh, they're telling me I should do it. I feel pressured. And I completely understand that where you think about something and then when you get in a situation, all of a sudden I don't feel as brave and I don't think I can say no anymore. So this is how you can respond in a situation or a scenario where you feel like someone's daring you to do something. You could tell your friend to do it themselves, and hopefully that will make them realise, actually, if I don't want to do it, then you shouldn't have to do it either. Saying no. And we talked about being assertive in our previous scarf lessons, and that's where you say, no, I don't feel comfortable. And that is where you are sticking up for yourself, standing up for yourself, and doing the right thing. Explain the consequence. I don't want to do that because we know it's against the rules. We know that we could get an orange dojo for doing it. And just because then that might make them aware and help them. Because it might not be that they're making you do it because they want you to get in trouble. They might just be not aware of the consequence, maybe. Keep repeating the reason why you won't do it, because then that helps you understand it more as well. No, because I don't want to get an orange dojo. I know we shouldn't be in there. No, I'm not going to go in. We shouldn't be inside at break time. The teachers have told us that. No, I don't want to get an orange dojo for being inside. Just keep repeating it. And then hopefully they'll get fed up of hearing you say no as well. Be firm, look them in the eye and speak clearly. Like I said, that's assertiveness. Just know deep down in your heart that you are doing the right thing. And although your friend might be pressuring you and trying to make you, you need to be firm and say no. And again, this is something that I do. I think, yeah, I'm going to say no to doing that extra something or other. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should. Or things like that. Or someone saying, well, just go and do that. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound right. And then I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should. They've told me to. Oh yeah, no, I don't want to say no. But it is the best thing to do to be assertive. So it's really important we are assertive when we say no. And that is the end of our scarf lesson. So hopefully, as we've gone through, you've made notes of whether these are dares or not. We've talked about the definition of a dare, so you've got that written down, and you've also made some notes about how to respond when people ask. Okay, that was very heavy on me talking, and I am sorry about that. I do like to talk a lot, but I just wanted to share it with you so that you can understand that it's something that a lot of people feel, and it's something that I still, as an adult, sometimes find it hard to say no. I feel bad, I feel like I'm letting people down, but you yourself is the most important thing. What you feel comfortable doing, what you feel happy doing, and what makes you happy is the main thing. Okay, so feel confident when you say no to something because you know it's the right thing to do. Okay, sorry again for all the chatting. You know me, guys, I do like to talk. So have a wonderful rest of your day and thank you for joining me for this scarf session. See you all very soon.